joining us live via Legacy Full Circle. We have a very special guest on today's episode of Coffee and Conversations. I'd like to welcome Brandon.
Hi.
Thank you, Brandon Redmerski.
That's right. Got it right.
For joining us on Coffee and Conversations. Those of you who've logged on live or who have kept up with us via our YouTube channel, you know that this is a monthly webinar series where we highlight people who are doing big things out in the community, in the financial services world, and just as an entrepreneur altogether. Brandon comes to us with a very awesome background.
Unique, to say the least. Yeah.
Unique and interesting, and I figured that our audience would really enjoy hearing from you. Brandon started his career as a stockbroker and then found himself transitioning into a professional poker player.
Yeah, so early on in my financial consultant career, I was at Washington Mutual and I was stationed, one of my branches was in Gardena. And right down the road was the Hustler Casino. I'd drive by it every day, I'd go work, I'd drive home. And then eventually we had a company party there and I went and sat down and played poker. And at the time, this was in the late 90s, the funny thing was, with commissions and everything back then, for a 22-year-old gentleman, I had more money than I had thoughts that would lead to spending it the right way. So I was like, I played poker with my friends. Let me sit down. Let me give this game a try. And I got dusted. They took everything. They whooped me. And I figured I wasn't that bad. They took it all. I went back the very next night. They took it all again.
I thought you were going to say I went in there and
I did not.
The table. I was a natural, and that's where my transition happened.
4 days in a row, went in there, got my ass kicked in, if you will, on the card table. Cost me a lot of money, but I made friends with a dealer. He's a professional poker player by the name of Kenneth James. And he's like, buddy, I've seen you come in here several times now. You're not that far off. There's a store right there. There in Larry Flint's casino, there's a little gift shop and that sort of stuff. And there's a bunch of poker books. And he said, go in there and buy those books, read them, and come back when you're ready. I think you'll be a good poker player. Well, I grabbed these books like a mad person, swiped the credit card, got all of it, drove home. I was like, I don't need to read any of this stuff, and went back the next day. Next day, lost another couple of racks of chips, and I drove back in my car and cracked those books right when I got home. And I went back about 6 weeks later with a different mindset, understanding the game, and I went on a pretty nice hot streak that rivaled what I was making in the investment world for a little bit.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, in the investment world, there's really serious fat commissions. So for you to be making that much as a professional poker player, that's impressive. But then, it goes to show, again, when you invest some education time into learning what you're doing, it goes a long way.
Time and discipline and giving yourself the right amount of time before you just go ahead and do something thinking you already got it.
Yeah, rather than quitting because you lost the first time. So that's commendable.
Thank you.
And so then
I lost the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and about the fifth, and I think maybe the sixth time.
So what made you want to keep going back?
I looked at the competition and there was no reason why they should be beating me in my mind.
I love that.
And I was young and my ego was probably overinflated. Now it's just at a normal high rate. But yeah, so I went in there and I was looking across the table, but they had the experience. They had the discipline. They knew when to hold them. They knew when to fold them, as the saying goes.
Right.
I didn't. I saw competition. I saw, I'm in a hand. I got to win. I got to be combative. There's a time and a place for that in sales and in poker.
Absolutely.
And the poker table really honed my sales game because every personality at the table is there, right? You have your engineers, you have your party people, you have your moms who just like to play poker but take care of the kids, and you have the controllers who think that they know everything about everything, right? And you get to put them to real decisions with real money, and you get to read their body language, their face, their mannerisms. Important. And slowly it started to transition to where I'd be sitting across from a client and I'd be like, you're pulling, you don't have this hand that you're representing, or XXX, and it would lead me down a different road to where I can actually offer them something that I feel that would be better suited for them, and then hence more
That's
sales.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So you have this booming career as a professional poker player.
Yeah, it was good.
And so did you immediately go back to financial services? You know, I know that you have about 2 decades worth of sales experience under your belt. So share with us a little bit about
Sure.
how that transition happened.
So I stayed in consulting for about 2 years, and it slowly ramped up. Like, it started off one night a week, and you would make, you know, $3,000 or $4,000, and it was all cash. And of course, I paid my taxes. But you know, it's one of those things where it's different. And Paul Newman says it best in The Color of Money. Money won is twice as sweet as money earned. And I got a caveat for that, because the same feeling I got when I would scoop a big pot, I get when I do the right thing for a client and make a nice big, you know, commission check or whatever it is, you know, or earn a new client for Level Up. It's earning the client is still the win for me, and then servicing the client and getting referrals is how I grow my winning percentage.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that. And
yeah, so it took about 2 years.
Okay.
And it just started creeping up on me. It was one night, then it was 2 nights, and it was, well, I'm playing good. It's Monday, you know, the people are there for Monday Night Football. This is when it's kind of good sometimes. Well, then I'm there. Well, now, how am I supposed to wake up at 3:30 in the morning and do all this? And then you have a slumpy month, you know, that happens to the best of us. But poker was going good, and, you know, you start thinking, well, I can do this. I can replace my income with this. I can do that. Foolish, don't ever do it. Trust me, you need a much bigger bankroll than what I had at the time. However, I made it work because I'm a good salesperson, and I was able to go and sell myself to Paradise Poker and earn a sponsorship from them. So I got to travel the world and do a bunch of stuff through it. And really, in the earlier part, I got to discover like a different side of me. I was a suit for a long time, and then I became this other personality. If you Google some of my poker photos, I have crazy red mohawk and look totally different. I have a red beard. Yeah, my card player cover, I have, you know, these crazy aviators on, a red beard and red hair that's all long.
You committed to almost like a character.
Yeah, because I have tattoos, and they do perceive you a certain way. They're not going to go, oh, this guy's a financial consultant.
It was a strategy.
This guy, yeah. Well, that, and I liked the way I looked. You know, I looked ridiculous. This was the MySpace era, folks. So don't blame us. We didn't have mirrors back then, but we did our best. So I would keep, you know, trying to change and evolve the image. Eventually, it stuck, and then I didn't need to do much. I would go and I would show up. The cards fall bad for everyone, but on the majority, it was a very profitable thing for a pretty long time. I even opened up a poker school and had poker students.
I was about to ask about that.
Yeah, and that ended up being almost more profitable than playing, because at my height, I had 26 active players that I was reading through their hand histories, coaching them, saying, play this hand this way, do it this way, and just basically teaching the method that I came up with. Fast forward to where we are today, I do the same thing at my agency, and I do the same thing for anyone who hires me through Level Up, whether it's a 90-day program or it's a full year. Let's really revamp a whole sales culture at a place.
Right.
It really taught me that you got to have some process that is reliable, teachable, and let other people put the muscles to it. So give them the skeleton, give them the brain, give them the circulatory system, let them put the muscles where they want to be strong.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you started picking up on training and coaching during your poker career. And so Level Up is a training and coaching business mentoring program that you founded.
Right.
And you've helped hundreds of clients?
Yeah, just a little over 150 folks in total, mostly because I can walk into a company and help 20 at a time.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what Level Up is.
Sure.
And the different types of programs, because I know you do one-on-one mentorships, group trainings, corporate trainings, so just a little bit of background on that.
Absolutely, you can start from the rah-rah, let me come in and work with your sales manager on motivation for the staff. I can come in, if you got a good motivated manager, I can come in, I can look through what you guys have been doing, go on a few calls, be maybe a secret shop and see what is actually being presented to the clients. And then from there, I can formulate a different strategy to maybe have an impact inside of a week. But the biggest impact that I have is usually my struggling rep, or what I call my 90-day accountability program.
Okay.
And from there, I mean, if you're local to me within reason, I come to your house, I look at your home office, I look how you live, I look how you keep your car.
Wow, really down to how they live.
Down to everything, because that's where the winning's done, is If you do one thing one way, it translates. Now, you might be able to get a little bit away from it, but it always comes out in the wash, right? So if you're the type of person who makes your bed in the morning and is organized and puts your pins back and you charge your phone and everything's ready for your next day, I bet you're probably already fairly successful, and that isn't what I need to fix for you, but I got to know that first,
Interesting.
right? And then from there, it could be something to where self-discipline, maybe with diet, is affecting the way that they run their business, as crazy as that sounds. But discipline loss in one space is definitely discipline loss in another.
That's powerful. Because, with entrepreneurs being so busy, they're always on the run, and it's really just about what can I eat quickly between these appointments. And I've read multiple books that talks about energy levels and making sure that those nutrients are there to power you through your day with natural energy. So
absolutely.
I love that you're already honing in on that when it comes to coaching.
Yeah, for most people, even if they're in good shape, we'll kind of meet with them. Of course, I encourage, if you need to, please speak to a medical professional. I am not one.
Right.
But this is what works for me, and why don't you try it? Because that's free. That doesn't cost you anything. I fast. I tend to fast for 16 hours a day. I break my fast correctly, and on the weekends I tend to do what I want. So, it works for me, but that might not work for somebody else. That might be too much time away from the discipline train that they're going to be running to try to catch up to it. But for me, like 2 days is off, I can catch back up pretty quick, right? But it's identifying where the quick fixes are. And then once those quick fixes get going and the circulatory system is working in your sales process, your business processes, it will be easy to identify what's lacking, because what's left, right? Is it time management? Is it your management skills? If you've ever read the 5 Love Languages, they also have a great book, and you can even get certified for about like $500 on the workplace love languages. So if you have a staff bigger than 4, I'd highly recommend it, unless you've done a lot of psychology training.
Right.
Because the way you like to be communicated with might be totally different than how Kevin likes to be communicated with, right? You might be okay with, more physical touch or more praise, and he might hate that. That might make him feel insecure, like he's not doing a good enough job because of something that was said to him when he was 11. Well, we got to figure that out for everybody. And I have a big assessment that I do with folks, and there's a reason why it isn't free, is because it's a lot of work on my end, but usually I only take from the profit of what my clients get. So I try to run off of a profit model.
Okay, wonderful. So with our audience, there's entrepreneurs at different levels. Those that just started their entrepreneurial career, those who've been in their own business for 10 plus years. At what point do you recommend, as a business mentor, that an entrepreneur takes serious and invests in having someone coach them and mentor them?
I wish I would have done it sooner. I really enjoy reading. Listening. It took me a while to really get into books the way I like them now. But I always would seek out who's number one in the company, and my way of doing it back in the day was I would kind of pick a competition fight with them. Like, I'm going to outproduce you this month. Of course, you can't do that every time. They would, say, hey, I'm not in competition with you. I remember, I'm not going to say his name because he's probably still out there doing a lot of good stuff, but he goes, I'm not in competition with you, Redmerski. And I was young, this was about when I was 23. He goes, I'm in competition with myself. That's why you can't beat me. And it really hit me. I was like, I've been playing against others for a real long time. Time to switch this up. So if I had a mentor, they would have said, like, it doesn't matter what Joe and Jenny are doing. What is Brandon doing today? What are you doing at 11? What are you doing at noon? What are you doing to move your balls forward? What is being left behind? How can we fix it? Right? So do it right away. And if you can't afford like a professional that you want to work with, please find a close friend and give them permission to slap you down a little bit. Because it's the way I coach is semi-aggressive. I'm going to tell you what I'm really thinking. And you've had multiple interactions with me. I'm a fairly nice guy, right? I'm jovial, I'm funny. I try to make light of any rough situation. But when somebody's paying me to do a job, I become Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm going to give it to you like the Terminator. I'm going to just bring it home, every day, and I lose a lot of clients for that in the level up sales development sense. But that should tell you something about them, and they always cycle back about a year later and they say the things that I did learn in the 30 days before I quit, man, it really changed my year. Let me get back into this. And to me, those are my favorite, because be the boomerang. That's okay. It's okay to be wrong about something that you thought, and then change your mind and come back and do it better.
Well, and then
right?
I feel like there's some growth that happens. Sometimes they're not ready for that coaching at that moment, and they really did take what you said, went back, implemented some of that, and grew as a person, grew as a business leader, and then said, you know what, I value this and I'm ready to move on to the next level.
Right.
And that's constantly happening with entrepreneurs, correct?
Every day, if you're lucky, if you're lucky, right?
Right.
The one thing that I say to anyone that I coach, or especially in my agency, because basically anyone who works for me is in the Level Up program, and they live it and breathe it, and I feel sorry for them. Sorry, Cody, Skylar, all the folks out there that I really am pouring it on right now. But for them, it is evolving them at a much faster rate.
Okay.
Right? Because they know that they're not just holding themselves accountable, I'm holding themselves accountable, and we're checking boxes on the daily. It makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Now, you having worked with so many entrepreneurs, and a lot of them come out successful from your program, obviously there's those that go through hardship.
Yes.
We all do. It's just running your business. It's the nature of the game. You're not going to always be winning.
Right.
I feel that sometimes people will come up to a situation that's challenging for them and decide, well, this isn't for me anymore, I quit.
Right.
How do you coach people past those situations in getting their mind strong enough to understand that challenges are opportunities for growth? How can some entrepreneurs who maybe right now are experiencing a rough time in their business to avoid a pitfall?
Sure. So the first thing I would say is look yourself in the mirror and remind yourself why you originally started this career, right? Or the career path. Being an entrepreneur, you can open a bar, you can open up an insurance agency, you could do anything. So why did you pick that? Revisit it. Well, those things never change. And most likely it's, I really love working with clients. I love making sure that my teachers can retire on time because my sister was a teacher and it's important to me. Or it could be I want to provide the best income and spend enough time with my family. Well, let's plan that out. That did not change. What changed is that you got tired of being kicked and now you're the dog in the corner because you haven't given yourself enough grace. You got to pick yourself up, allow yourself to fail because that's the only way the winning gets done. Mm-hmm. You fall down, you get back up, and you bring it on again like you're Rocky in the 7th round. What else you got?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I love that.
If you don't have things that motivate you, like I don't listen to a ton of music, but I do listen to about 10 songs in a given day, and they all have a design to them. Like this one has this beat, and it makes me just get in that war mode, like I'm gonna get on it. I'm gonna go work for 6 hours, and I'm not gonna stop.
You got me like,
right?
Yeah.
Right? You feel it, right? And it's that cadence, and then I have others that can calm you down. What are you doing to keep yourself in the game on the daily? And when you fall out, do you have someone to help you get back in? And if it's not that, you better be it for yourself, or you won't last.
Right. And I feel like with, again, entrepreneurs being so busy, they can quickly find themselves just kind of keeping up with their day rather than controlling their day.
Right.
And they're just kind of going through motions. Some of these individuals are actually successful.
That's right.
What can they do to organize themselves, and what results can they expect from not just allowing things to kind of happen and naturally have success?
So my people that are already successful, like you, for instance, I find you to be very successful.
Thank you.
It's usually just a 1% switch. It's not a drastic change. We're not gonna change something drastic with you. We're gonna change literally one process. It might take us a month to figure out what that is, but when we find that one little thing, usually someone like you who's already successful, who's just maybe looking to get to the next level, what we're looking to do is level up everybody. Well, what are you doing to do that every day? What are you doing to keep yourself in the game? If you get stuck, are you reading books? Are you applying new processes? Stay fresh, right?
Right.
So that I just say for the clients that I get that are in the top 1% already, they tend to start slacking on the discipline of the easy things.
Okay.
So it would be, let's start handwriting a schedule again for a week. Let's put your day in front of you.
This is back to the basics.
Back to the basics, right?
Yeah.
Because you're already a black belt at business if you've survived 3 years and you can pay your bills.
Right.
That's my interpretation.
Absolutely.
You've earned it. But sometimes you don't train as hard, and sometimes you're eating Taco Bell every night, and you're not the black belt that you were when you started, ready to conquer the world, right? The world kind of slapped back a little bit,
Right.
and you have to reassess. But you also got to get that uniform back on, find that war cadence,
I love it.
and move forward.
I love it. And for those of you listening, sometimes you find yourself so consumed in your day, in your business, in your relationships, in your family, that sometimes it does take having a third party come in and say, hey, I don't know if you're seeing this, but if you just change these things, you're going to take your business to the next level. And that's really important to kind of sit back, and even around this time of the year where we're in the last quarter, prepare for the next year.
Yes.
To really position your business to really take off and grow exponentially with someone like yourself,
Right.
and Level Up, where this program can come in and fine tune you and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah, and
introduce some new
if it's
concepts.
not me, please, November 1st, put yourself on a 90-day program. The reason November 1st is the magic day for kicking, are we public? Can I curse?
Yeah, you
for
can
kicking
curse.
ass in the new year, right, is you got to get a running start. Everybody's like, well, here we are, the first of the year, hungover. I'm going to set these goals and I'm going to conquer them. Yeah, you are. I'm sure you will. Congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
rooting for
true.
you, right? Because I want to hit my goals too, so I'm going to root for you. But the truth is, without that 60-day ramp up, getting the right process in place, having your rhythm, having your momentum, it's just going to be another day, and you're going to be behind the guy who actually took the time to do it.
I love that.
So if you can't afford something with me, there's stuff for free online all over the place. There's no excuses. I will whip you up in shape, so if that's what you need, we'll let you know how to get a hold of me. But there's plenty of free stuff out there, and please check it out. See if it works for you. Like, I'm not in this part to get rich. I like doing this because it teaches me what I'm missing. Because every person that I get in front of me is an entrepreneur, and they've learned something that I haven't yet, and I want it.
I love that. That's powerful advice, and I really hope that those of you listening really implement that. I think we have plenty of time before
Sure.
November 1st.
That's right.
Actually, it's tomorrow.
Coming on up.
So really implement that. I know I'm going to walk away with that myself.
Good.
And with that, I want to thank you for being here.
Thanks
I
for
think
having
that
me.
you've shared so much insight on the power of coaching and mentoring and plugging in as an entrepreneur to these programs.
Awesome.
Lots of us like to stay caffeinated to get through our
Yes.
days. Some of us meet with our clients at coffee shops.
Yes.
Is there a place that Brandon, the powerhouse Brandon, enjoys as a favorite coffee shop, or a particular coffee that you enjoy to get your day started, or maybe a power boost in the middle of the day?
I love Paul Newman's roast that comes in the Keurig. I know I'm a simple guy, but I got a Keurig. I have an espresso. I have another little maker, and I cycle through them all on a given day. As you know, it seems like I don't sleep. I've been in California 4 times this week, and it's Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I stay extremely caffeinated, almost probably to detriment at times. No specific shop. Starbucks is my least favorite, but it's coffee, and it's good, and teachers like it, or clients like it as well. So I can find something I like anywhere. But I tend to drink it black because I'm vain and I can't take the calories. All right?
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Paul Newman's Keurig Coffee.
Paul Newman.
That's what it is. Well, thank you, all of you who tuned in live today. For those of you listening on the webinar, we will have this available out to you via our newsletter. If you're on our live platform and would like to be added to our newsletter, just shoot us a DM with your email address. For those of you who would like to get in contact with Brandon personally, you can reach him at Brandon@levelUpRetirementPlanning.com. We will include this on the YouTube channel so that you have easy access to it. But again, if you're on our live channel, it is Brandon@levelUpRetirementPlanning.com. Thank you all again. Thank you, Brandon, and we'll see you next month.
See ya.